Good day everyone, and welcome to York Construction Academy. My name is Milan and I'm going to walk you through the basic fundamentals in regards to installing window casing. Casings come in a variety of different sizes. What's most important when selecting the materials to ensure that they are pretty much the same profile. In this case we're looking at 2 3/4 inches here, and the other one just to make sure, yes, we're 2 3/4 inches, because you can have various widths of this material depending on which supplier you go to. We also have with us a piece of door jamb that we can use as a straight edge should we need to do any scarf cutting. I'll explain exactly what scarf cutting is later on in the video. First and foremost, we have our window that's been installed. It's been shimmed into place, it's been secured, and now we just need to dress this up. To dress this, we'll be using the window jamb. But most importantly, when installing window jambs is the use of a reveal. Reveals are there to make it aesthetically pleasing and also to provide a nice clean edge to be able to use our dapping gun to basically fill any internal crevices and corners, and actually allows the dap to move into the corner because it provides space for the material to enter. So what we're going to do first is look at our carpenter's pencil. This is also a measuring device. On the width, it's actually 1/2 inch. On the shorter side, it's 1/4 inch. So standard reveals run from 1/8 inch to 1/2 inch. In this case, the reveal on this window is going to be 1/4 inch. We already have a line that's actually within the extruded vinyl part of the window that's going to provide us with a guide. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start by measuring the top from reveal line to reveal line, and in this case the measurement that we have is 29¼ inches. So at 29¼ inches we need to cut a 45-degree miter onto our trim. So what we're going to be doing is putting a 45 miter. Now the most important thing to remember is when you're cutting miters for door casing or window casing is that the larger, thicker side is facing the outside. So we have to make sure that the orientation is such that the 45 comes to the inside. So we have our cutting station set up here. Make sure the trim sits on the base, tightly on the back of the fence. You're going to move the saw to the 45-degree position, and you're going to be removing the material to that point. Make sure the slide is set up and removing just enough material to have a nice clean 45-degree. And in this case, what we're going to do, we're going to do this. So our offcut, we'll just put it off to the side. Now, the 29¼ inches that we determined is the distance between the reveal to reveal. Always measure twice, cut once. So it's 29¼ So what we're going to do, and that's to the inside of the 45. So therefore, we're going to be measuring 29¼ and we're going to make a mark. And that's going to serve to where our 45 has to start. And for orientation purposes, you can use a speed square just to remind you in what direction this 45 needs to go. So it takes the guesswork out of it, and you can also extend your cutting line, making it easier for you to make sure that when you're cutting, that this is the waist side of the material, meaning that the full width of the blade resides on this side of the piece. If you cut on the opposite side of the line, obviously because we're dealing with finished carpentry, we're dealing with tolerances of plus or minus 1/16 inch, you're going to lose 1/8 inch because of the blade width. In this case, we have to reorientate it to 45 degrees on the other side to make sure that the cut is accurate. And then we're going to put this down here, line it up to our line, making sure that the full blade width is on the waist side of the material, and then we cut. Because this is a directional profile, obviously we can't put these 45-degree miters together. So we're going to have a little bit of waste, and we have to make another cut to ensure that the orientation is in the right direction. Again, it's got to be sitting flat on the base and tied up against the fence. The tighter the better, that way there are no deviations and our 45s are cut nice and clean. I gotta skim it over a little bit more because I haven't got a sharp corner. Now the top and bottom of our reveal is going to be the same width. Therefore, you can use the previously cut piece and you have the highest probability of success of matching 2 exact pieces by doing this. And we make a line here that indicates where that's gotta go, However, based on our cutting orientation, that line needs to be extended to the front, indicated here, and that indicates exactly where the 45 needs to go. Again, we'll take our speed square and we'll mark that so that we have a reference line that is easier for us to follow. And again, this is the waist side of the material. Now we've cut our top and bottom pieces, and as you can see, they're pretty much mirror images of each other. That's the key. Make sure we have everything in line. Double check. Okay, so we're out by roughly a blade width. Therefore, just set it up on the machine. It's always easier to remove a little bit of material than it is to ending up being cut short. Okay, that's much better. Now, what do we do with this piece? We don't throw this out. We don't waste it. Right now, I've cut two pieces that'll be installed top and bottom. Now, with this other piece, what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare it for splicing by using a scarf cut. So what first thing we need to do is, again, we cannot make these 45 miters in this orientation because it's actually reversed. So again, we're gonna have a little bit of waste and we're gonna cut this at 45 degrees. Put this down. So you have a nice tight 45 over here. And what we're going to do is we're gonna make a scarf cut. Scarf cut is different than the 45 miter. They're basically perpendicular to each other. So the scarf cut, we need to make a 45 on this angle so that we can also splice in another piece and have a nice clean seam between the two pieces. So to achieve this, we need to cut a 45. And you basically, it's not overly important where it is, but again, you want to minimize material waste. So that is the orientation. However, when we're putting this on the machine, it's very important to make sure that this is on the base and this is on the fence, and we can cut straight down. Nice and tight, watch where your fingers are, come down, and that'll give us our open face scarf cut. Thus far, from this 7-foot piece of trim casing, this is how much scrap we're left with. Next thing we need to do is we need to load up our brad nailer. These are 2-inch brad nails, loaded, and that's ready to go. So we keep that in close proximity. We're gonna take our first piece and we're gonna line it up to the line of our reveal and into our corners on the edges. So we use our 2-step ladder over here, come up, and we use that as a guide and follow our line. And we're gonna punch a brad nail here, one here, one here, following our reveal line. So that's our top piece that we just cut, and we put that in. Next most important thing is you need to install the bottom. It's highly recommended that you install the top and you install the bottom, and then you work on fitting in your sides. Again, we're gonna look at our end lines. And again, one. And now you're gonna say, what are we doing with this piece? Well, this piece can now start here, making sure that our miter joint is nice and tight. We can use door jamb as a straight edge going from top to bottom to ensure that this is properly aligned and we don't have any deviation. And you have a nice tight corner. You can pop in 2 nails. Now, to determine the measurement of this side, you take your tape measure. It's roughly 34 and 3/16. However, I'll cut it to 5/16. It's highly recommended that when you make your cuts, you make them 1/8 of an inch larger and then customize the fit. Again, you have to remember that the thicker side is always going to the outside. So we've done our 45, 34 and 5/16. Just remember from where you referenced that dimension. In this case, we're dealing from the outside, not on the inside dimension like we did the original measurement for our top and bottom pieces. Make sure we orientate it properly. Come to 45 degrees. Now we're going to trial fit our piece into place. Cut it a little bit long purposely. Now you need to measure it in place. And we're going to make a mark. It's roughly a blade width that I have to remove. Make sure everything's on the fence and on the base. Nice tight corner. Pop that in. Roughly half a blade width left to come off. There we have it. Nice and tight. The tighter the joints are, the better it is. The less fillers required to clean things up. So that's now in place. The next thing we need to do is to deal with the scarf cut. Again, this 45 is not orientated in the proper direction, so we need to cut this the other way. Now in this case, what you're gonna do is you can take this 45 over here, put it tight into the corner, and then you're gonna have to make yourself a mark to where your matching scarf cut needs to go. And that's the top end of it. You can eyeball it, but again, always leave 1/8 of an inch more Plus, before you remove the piece from the wall, make sure you include the orientation of where that 45 has to go. And make sure that you're cutting on the waist side of the material. Save this piece in the next window. And we're going to put this into place. See what we're dealing with. It's still a little bit long. We need to make another mark. Line up the blade to that mark and then cut. There you have it. Installation of a window casing. Just a quick review. We started by laying out our reveal. To lay out the reveal, you use the width of the pencil, and that'll give you your 1/4 inch reveal. Since this is an extruded vinyl window casing, we already have a line that we can reference in regards to our reveal here. So we measured from the inside to there, which was 29 1/4 inches. We cut 2 pieces where the inside was at 29 1/4. The 2 pieces were installed, ensuring that the thicker side of the casing was installed to the outside of the window frame. We installed the top and the bottom piece, and now we worked on our sides. Whatever was left over, I cut another 45 miter to match, and I provided an open scarf cut to allow for the splice of material. We grabbed our next piece, we measured to the outside of the frame and cut it 1/8 of an inch larger, ensuring that the 45s are in the proper orientation and that the thickest part of the material is on the outside of the door frame. We do a couple of trial fits, a few skim cuts to make it nice and tight. Makes it like a seamless 45 miter in the corner, and there's less rework required here. So once this is painted, it'll look like one solid piece. And then we came back, ensuring that we cut the 45 miter on the right side to fit to the top, and then came here, measured in place, marked for where the scarf cut needed to go, made a few adjustments, and made sure that the scarf cut is nice and tight. You do not splice by butting them together, because due to the expansion and contraction, you're going to start to get gaps. This way, you got a nice solid scarf cut in here. If you want to ensure better adhesion, you'll put a little bit of wood glue on this, set this in place, nail it in place. Then once the glue sets, this is all one piece. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Milan from York Construction Academy. Have a lovely day.